Good afternoon everybody, welcome back to Steelman Outdoors. In today's episode we're going to be taking a look at my new bushcraft purchases. If you're like me and you can't stop yourself pressing the buy button whenever you see something on somebody else's channel, stick around, this episode's for you. It's really warm today. It is Sunday the 12th, I think it's about 20 degrees. Gorgeous. So today's a bit twofold really. I'm out testing some new gear that I've got. You can see one of them on my head already. It's the Tilly T3 Wonder. Big shout out to Ant Survive the Night. I think without your video I probably wouldn't have purchased this, so what do you think? I'm also going to be scouting out some different locations for wild camping while I'm here. Just arrived at this little area of the woodland I've never been in before. It's nice and open. I think it'd be good for hammock camping. It looks like it's predominantly ash trees here, whereas usually down the way where I usually camp is full of pine trees. But it's lovely and open. There's some stacks of cut wood that looks like they've been there for quite some time, dotted around. I don't know if you can see that in the background. Could make some use of some of that, I think. Just gonna have a little wander around here. Just on the other side of these trees is a meadow that then leads down to Laxton Hall. So you may get people walking dogs along the edge of this, so I'd need to be tucked in enough so that people couldn't see me, I think. But yeah, I like the look of this. So I've decided just to have a seat here underneath that oak tree. It's just on the edge of the meadow, as you can see. Gorgeous day. So before we get started on the new purchases that I bought, what is your latest purchase? Drop it in the comments below. And how were you inspired to buy that? Did you see it on a different video? Or is it something new that you've not seen before? Drop a comment, drop a link below if you can, so I can have a look. I promise I won't purchase it. Not. So I've come out really lightweight today, and the first thing to show you, well, first two things that you can see really, are the new haversack that I bought, which is a Polish bread bag. Awesome little bag just for a day trip, and I'll take you through what I've got in it in a minute. I think it's approximately 16 litre. Also, in addition to that, I did actually bring my, I think it's a Pathfinder bottle bag, and that's got my Stanley tin in it, just so I can boil up some water for my coffee. So the second purchase, not actually used it yet, this will be the first today, and this is the Kupilka 21. Now I've got really small hands and it fits in mine quite nicely, so there is a larger version, I think called maybe the 55, but the 21, nice little cookser sort of shape. It's made of like a plastic and pine resin composite. It's dishwasher safe and all that jazz, made in Finland by a company called Kupilka. So we'll be having a brew in that today. So I've come quite light on gear today. We've got the Victorinox Farmer, which was featured in my last video, link above. Got some sugar for a brew. Inside we've got my new tinder bag. This was made by Bushcraft, and actually I was his first customer, so awesome piece of kit. Handmade of leather. Smells absolutely gorgeous. And it's got a bit, I think that's probably a reindeer antler that's used as a stopper, keep the bag shut, and then finished with a lever toggle. Lovely. Inside that, I've got some birch bark that I gathered on my last trip. I've got some of these fire starters that actually Basher Bushcraft actually sent me. I think his name's David. Sorry David if that's wrong, if that is your name. And then I've got some bits of fat wood, which I also used in my last video and lit a fire with the Victorinox. So should be enough, should be plenty in there to be able to light a fire. But if not, I've also got this. So yesterday on my Instagram, I posted a picture of how to make your own fire starters. And I'll show you a couple of things in this bag, which hopefully will get the fire going for my brew today. So firstly in the bag, we've got some homemade fire starters, which also smell delightful. I think it was something like pink something or other anyway. Now these are just cotton pads that I stole from the wife. And actually I was just about to throw out a candle of hers that had burnt down, and it had bits of wax in it still that were unused up the side of the candle. So I decided that I'd melt that down in the microwave and then put these in it. So they just soak up the wax as it's been melted, and then they go quite hard. So I don't know if you can hear that. But I made 10 of them, and I don't know if they'll catch a spark straight from a ferro rod, but I know that with a flame they will. So if I can light a bit of birch bark and then light that, that should be good to go. I'm hoping today that I'm going to try and boil the kettle, boil the Stanley, with just these and see how long they last and what kind of heat they produce. That could go wrong, might end up not having a brew, we'll see. Also in this little bag is my only ferro rod. Actually, this is the only source of ignition I've got with me today. It's quite small, but it's a necklace. And then on there is a built-in striker and the actual ferro rod. That came off eBay, I think it was only a few quid. I'm also carrying a litre of water inside an Nalgene bottle. That's a fail. I'm also carrying the very trusty Bushcraft Essentials Bushbox XL stainless steel version. You've seen that in my videos before. Now, the people who follow me on Instagram, shameless plug, flashing up on the screen now, follow if you want a preview on most of this gear, will have seen this. This is a carving kit. And I made a spoon a couple of weeks back, the first one ever, and I gifted it to my father-in-law for his 60th birthday. I worked long and hard on that spoon, so I hope he appreciates it. But yeah, this came off Amazon. And actually, this bit here is a spoon blank. It's made from walnut, and this came from China. And I just thought, while I'm out, when I'm bored, when I'm wild camping, it'd be a good little project. So that all goes together inside this handy roll bag. It's hard to do it one-handed, so excuse me for the camera. Just on my iPhone today. Oh, and actually I've just upgraded to iOS 14, so which is the public beta version. So none of this might not even work. We'll see. So yeah, we've got the tool roll and carving kit. What else have we got? First aid kit in my Viper bag. And that's just got standard things like paracetamol, ibuprofen. It's got some bandages, plasters. It's got some scissors in there. I'm not sure if it's got my tick removal kit in there or not. It might still be at home actually. We've got some handy wipes. We've got an old bit of fat wood that I got from the woods behind me many months ago. Got some paracord just in case. and then a bigger chunk of paracord. So all in all, as you can see, quite a lot of gear goes inside that bag, and on the outside I clip some gloves in case I'm handling fire. I've got a little towel that I use for washing up any kind of dishes, and I also clip the cup. The rest of it goes inside the bag. So that's all my new kit. Have you got any of it? Which one's your favourite piece? And then obviously the main purchase, which is glaringly obvious to everyone, and I gave a shout out back there, is this wonderful hat. Oh, how debonair you look, Mr. Steelman. I'll probably cut that bit out. Let's get a brew on. So my immediate plan is to take one of these freshly made homemade firelighters that smell awesome, put it in the bottom of here, light it, and then hopefully that alone will boil the water. We'll soon find out. So I put the pot supports quite low so that I can put the Stanley on top of that. And the flame should hopefully lick the bottom of that and heat up the water. So I think what I'm going to do is try and rough up the edge of this just to create some surface area. And if that doesn't work, we'll use some birch bark just to get the initial flame, hopefully. It's quite gunky, so I'm not sure that's fibrous enough to catch a flame or spark even. Okay, so that doesn't seem to work. It's going. I didn't press record. Now that was a bit of an effort actually. The little ferro rod that I've got that comes on that necklace wasn't very good. It took me quite a few attempts, but eventually got there. Let's get the lid on that. And now hopefully I can just feed in a couple of these as needed. Keep that fire going. Creating a lot of soot though. Well, I'm pleased that that worked. It just shows if you're in a pinch, you don't need to spend any money. Most of the time you can just use stuff that you've got lying around in your house. It's going to be some clean-up job on the Stanley though. Look at the state of it already. This is absolutely why you need gloves. Water's just about boiled with two of them. But look at the state of the Stanley. I'm not sure if I'll use them again to cook on a pot. They'll be okay to start a fire, but yeah, look at the soot. It smells nice though. The Stanley cleaned up quite nicely with just some grass. I'll give it a proper wash when I get home. Success. So, what's everyone been up to? Any wild camping planned? Any adventures? Drop a comment below, I'd love to hear from you. I had to rejig a couple of my plans, so on one of my previous videos, you will have seen that I was due to head up to the Peak District a couple of weeks back. The two guys that I was going with, they're steel fixers by trade, and unfortunately they've just landed a new job, which meant that they had to go on a 3-day course before they were allowed on site. And that 3-day course happened to go over the 3 days that we were supposed to be in the Peak District. So we have moved that date to the 8th of August. So we'll be going up then. And on the 1st of August, I'm heading up to Cheshire to see the Cheshire Wanderer. Wife just texted me, how rude. So as I was saying, on the 1st of October, I'm heading up to Cheshire to meet with Mike from the Cheshire Wanderer. So I'm really looking forward to that. We'll be taking the hammock up and going to his local woodland. It's a pine woodland, I think. I've linked his channel before, but I'll put it again just in case you want to go and have a look at that. And hopefully what I plan to do is come back to this little area just on the edge of this meadow, just tucked inside them ash trees back there, and maybe do a tarp and bivvy camp. So I've never actually staged just in my bivvy under a tarp. I've only ever used it inside the lavoo. The lavoo videos seem really popular actually. I've done 2, and they're probably, well, the very first video that I did, where I was just showing off the new lavoo that I'd bought, is by far my most watched video. So what would you prefer to see? Bivvy and tarp or lavoo again? If you drop a comment below, I'll be able to see what's the most popular and what you guys want to see. So at the end of the day, I'm out here for twofold really. It's to entertain you lot. Usually I do that with my own failures. And it's to improve my skill set. And I think that is coming along. So if I think back to maybe one of my first videos, or maybe the first times I started coming to the woodland, I didn't know what fat wood was. I had a knife. I had loads of gear that I'd bought from various different places, and my remit was to just come out and start trying it. I watched quite a lot of bushcraft videos and I really enjoyed it, as I'm sure all of you do, and I really just wanted to get out there and give it a shot. Now I'm confident that I could come out with just a ferro rod of that size, which in all honesty was total rubbish, not as good as the big one. But even with that, a bit of birch bark and some fire starters that I've made from home, I managed to be able to boil some water and get myself a brew inside my new Kupilka 21. So let me know what your plans are. Let me know what you'd like to see next from Steelman Outdoors. And if I don't see you before, I'll see you up in Cheshire. Thanks for coming along. And it goes without saying, guys, leave no trace except some flat grass. If you don't, you're a dick.